Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day here and had a great weekend too, specifically with your mother for Mother's Day. I hope you got a chance to spend time with them. And thank you to, of course, all of my mothers that watch my channel. Thank you again very much for your support and just in general, all that you do as mothers. I know it's not easy. That being said, I'm not a financial advisor, so if you are new to the channel, please keep this in mind. I love teaching people how to trade. I hope you can learn as much as you can here today, but we always try to look at this, everything abstract and help us understand, best practice and big picture, so you can hopefully take away, at least a little something here. All right, so that's the whole purpose. And once again, not a financial advisor, but if you do want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. I have a trading academy, community, and signal group. I share my signals so you know how to structure your trades effectively. I provide you with a trading academy where you can learn how to become a better trader, and a really cool, awesome community where we can all learn and grow together. Fantastic experience. But speaking of experience that is less fantastic, I think we already kind of know this. Lately, we've lost about 18% in value since we topped out at 48,000. Correction, that was 40,000 recently. So that correction from 40 to 32, that's a pretty significant hit, and a lot of portfolios are down. In fact, over the weekend, we saw a tremendous amount of altcoins just get damaged and wrecked. That makes sense though, because a lot of profitable coins right now are just getting hit hard. So try not to take any long positions unless you have full-on confirmation. There was confirmation from Algorand and GMT recently. Thankfully, we already hit our profit target for Algorand. Still holding GMT, but I can tell you that those are good coins that should be okay. Regardless of it's not what we're here for, but generally speaking, there's very few altcoins right now that are doing well. And you just got to be mindful. A lot of those are like extremely overextended and they're ready to come back. So this is an important week for Bitcoin. We really need it to return fire, so to speak, and hit that bottom. We don't know where the bottom is at yet. It is testing a key level support right around 33,000. That was a previous candle wick down in January. And if we go back a little bit further, we can see also that we have this other support zone, basically the last support zone between 30 and 31.5. Okay. So generally speaking, as a loose estimate, you could say between 30 to 33,000, we have a support channel based on previous support from last year as well as this year. Kind of just a general sense of how things are in that way. So that's where we're at there. Let's take a quick peek at the monthly and just kind of want to reiterate the fact that, this 20-day SMA, we did lose that. It's never advantageous when we have. Previously, when we lost the SMA, a 20 on the monthly, we spent about 6 months below it. Okay. Now, not to say we're guaranteed to spend 6 months below this, but it seems pretty likely at this point, right? And that would be a better case scenario. We could even see the price come down and retest the 20,000 range. We got to be up front and I guess just aware of the fact that that's a possibility. Is it a probability? Probably not as much so as a possibility, of course, because anything could happen in crypto. But we're not there yet. Okay. But again, we're starting to see signs that it wants to break down to 30,000. So we gotta acknowledge that first. So that being said, though, when we're under the 20, that's never typically a good sign. We're also testing 50 on the RSI as well. We lose that, we could be in this, I wouldn't say a full-on bearish winter, but generally speaking, we could imply that the price will stay lower for longer. Again, no guarantees on that. I just think being under the 20 is probably the most important takeaway here for us to help understand generally what that's looking like. If we look at the weekly, though, tells pretty much a similar story, but the good news is we got the 200-day SMA working its way up, right around 22,000. That is a key level Fibonacci retracement line, and pretty much all these Fibonacci retracement levels here are essentially holding in place or just kind of giving us key levels. So 33,000, we've got 31.5, we've got 33,000, or correction, I said that already, 30,000, and of course below that is 27. So heaven forbid we lose 30,000, 27 would be the next key level support based on Fibonacci. All right, but generally speaking, we're underneath both the key level moving averages, which to me the 20 and the 50 are both very important on the weekly, and just staying below that is kind of just reiterating the obvious fact that we are in a downtrend and we're not quite sure that we've hit the bottom yet. Okay, so I would just try not to be too naive and think that it's just going to bounce right back. While there's a probability it will bounce back, probably quite hard maybe to test one of the previous resistance levels of 38 or 40,000. I don't think we should expect the price to continue to ascend, so to speak. We need to have a lot of stuff needs to happen between now and then. We've got to start establishing higher highs and higher lows, and essentially give us some really good patterns that we don't have right now. Okay, so we are in somewhat of a dire straits, but here's some positive. We are at 30 on the RSI on the daily, and anytime you've seen the price come down below 30 on the RSI or touch 30 on the RSI, it has a tendency of ramping back up. So we hit 30 here. Now, you could argue that that was a downtrend, but it did try to push up again, right? You could say the same thing here as well, whereas it came down and then the price went up again. Now, this is an anomaly, or in a sense, probably not going to happen here more so is what I'm trying to say, because we got to just consider the fact that we're under a lot of key level resistances on the larger time frames, kind of holding the price in place. So a smaller time movement, like a daily, for example, if we get a couple of green candlesticks that come back up to 38 or 40, there's a great chance that those could and should very well get rejected. Okay, I just kind of want to try to drive that home here. Whereas, you know, it's nice to have some of these constellations and the fact that we're extremely overextended to the downside, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see a strong bounce. But I think a bounce is inevitable. I mean, you have to. What goes down must come up. It's not going to go down forever. And we're 5 days in this continuation, so, you know, hypothetically, we've got another 4 days of downside or sideways action before the price comes back up. Again, this could happen this week. We could see a reprieve this week. It would be nice to see that, of course, a green day for a change, but I just ask you, don't get super excited when we have a green day, and, you know, try not to go all in, if that makes any sense. All right, take a look at TD sequential. We can see we came down to a 9 previously. Got a reset down to a 5, another reset down to a 5 again. So we are hypothetically at a second 9, because this really wasn't that long of a reset. It was just kind of that steady sideways action before the price came down again. But generally speaking here, we should expect maybe about 20 more hours of continuation down before it comes back up, in the overall sense of the fact that 9s are pretty common in Bitcoin and crypto. So generally speaking, that's kind of where we're at. We're underneath all moving averages, and in order to have any kind of consideration for making higher highs and higher lows, we need to be above the 50 or the 20th, 50, and obviously 200. So, you know, being below all moving averages pretty much on every time frame is not ideal. We have the 200, of course, working to our advantage on the weekly, but that still remains to be seen. That's at 22,000. It's slowly progressing upwards. Again, a lot of stuff telling us we got bearish sentiment here. And take a look at this RSI. Extremely overextended as well. But just note, remember last time, if you saw when it came down below 30, we did get some sideways action and a rally. Okay, so we could very well see some sideways action and a rally back up to 35, possibly 38. 40 seems less likely, but again, there's possibilities there because it is a key level resistance. Again, that's kind of where we're at there. 4 hour does not look great. So this transitionary time frame is telling us it's completely bearish. A turnaround, once again, is probable, but is it likely? Hard to say, right? It's 50-50. I don't think it'll be super strong if it is, but it would be nice to see some kind of buying pressure for a change. Looking at the 1 hour to kind of wrap things up here, if we take a look at the cloud, once again, full-on confirmation for short signals and/or just keeping a short position open. All right. Now, yesterday we had this, or no, a couple of days ago, I think over the weekend, we had this indication that we could have seen a bounce back, but it just continued on harder and faster throughout the weekend. And usually when you have that kind of selling pressure on the weekend, it doesn't really usually bode well for the weekday. But once again, if you have a green weekend, you have a red weekday. Oftentimes, red weekends can actually give us green weekdays. So, again, no guarantees here, but with the state of the overall market, it's no surprise that Bitcoin's where it's at right now. So, moving forward, best practice, as per usual, I always recommend dollar cost averaging. Again, based on your overall portfolio size and your goals, etc., that should be different for everyone. Okay. Now, I teach this in my trading academy, but generally speaking, you want to be cautious in how much you invest. We are taking different positions right now, both long and short, and I can tell you that half are hitting their targets, the other half we're keeping open. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm not actually providing a tremendous amount of money or capital in these investments. They're kind of smaller because I don't expect them to necessarily be 100%, if that makes any sense. So just try to recognize that when you're dollar cost averaging, don't put everything all at once. Like I have targets set pretty much every $1,000 lower for Bitcoin until we hit our bottom. I got in at 34.5, 33, 36.2. Before that, there's a handful of entries that I've been taking, and I feel comfortable with that. That's, again, my risk tolerance. But if you're going to dollar cost average a little bit at a time, don't do like a 50% of your portfolio at a time. You'll only be able to buy in twice, right? So, just a little bit, 5 to 10% here and there, and work with what's comfortable for you. Otherwise, I recommend holding on if you have some higher positions. There's nothing wrong with that. Things will recover, but for the moment, it is what it is. We got to accept the fact that Bitcoin is on its way down, and that narrative isn't going to change until we see higher highs, higher lows, and a handful of other things. So once again, looking good here in the sense of the downtrend, but we'll see what happens next. I do appreciate you, again, joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing the next video. And if you're not currently a community member, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. We all learn and grow together. I look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.